Hi, I'm Steph from Stitching with Steph, and welcome to my channel. Today you're going to be doing another stitch with me. We are going into week 5 of our large canvas koi and peony design. It is by Classical Cross Stitch. It is an 11 count, 91 by 181 centimeters. It consists of 57 colors, and I do not have a link for this design as it's been in my stash for a while. If you're one of my subscribers and you're returning today for another stitch with me, thank you. I appreciate you guys coming along and hanging out with me today. If you're not a subscriber and this is the type of content that you like, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you can follow along on this journey. I do several stitches with me's. I do reviews several times a week. I do ASMR videos as well as tranquil stitching videos. If you like this particular canvas, go ahead and click that like button for me so I know what kind of canvases people tend to like to stitch on. Lastly, if you want to, we do have a Facebook group for our little stitching community over here on YouTube. Our Facebook group name is Stitching with Steph. I do have a link down in the description box, so if you just click that, it'll take you straight to that Facebook group. Just answer a few questions, and I'll be more than happy to admit you into the group and hang out with us in our little stitching group. Let's go ahead and dive into this week 5 stitch with me of this large canvas koi and peony design. All right, friends, we're on to another week of our large canvas here. As you can see, I've gotten quite a bit done. So I'm going to be working this number 28 actually. And the DMC color for 28 is 796. So yeah, I've been working on this one quite often. As you can see, I got a little bit of sun. I was working on my garden this weekend, which is why I haven't posted for a couple of days. I had to get all that stuff in the ground and ready for the season. And my daughter and I were actually doing that. So my daughter likes to garden, which is nice. You know, I have somebody to do it with. So we got all of our planters done in the front of our house. We got, what else did we do? Oh, sorry, guys. I got my planters done. So I have a lot of planters like hanging on my patio, like railing in my front. And then I have planters going up my front stairs and walkway, like stairs leading up to my front patio. And then what else did we get done? We got all of our raised beds done. So this year we're growing squash, zucchini, our green onions. Those come back every year. They pretty much survive through the winter. I just added to the gardens. Oops, sorry guys. Sometimes my camera wants to be a little finicky. Let me think. What else did we do? I'm trying to go bed by bed. We did jalapenos, red bell peppers, green bell peppers. We did a New Mexico one. We did we did another one. Did I say jalapeno? I think so. And then we did 2 types of cherry tomatoes. So we did the traditional like husky cherry tomatoes, and then we did a black cherry tomato. And and then my daughter, she's doing herbs this year. I told her to put those into containers that we can move inside into our garage because I'm putting, our garage is big enough for me to put like a greenhouse in for them to survive through the year. So that way we could have fresh herbs all year. And then we'll just put them back out next year. Let's see, what else did we do? We have 2 types of tomatoes growing. We are doing heirloom tomatoes, a red heirloom tomato, and then we're doing like a yellowish tomato. It's called a Jubilee tomato. That's new. I wanted to try something new, so that's why I did that one. And then we got corn growing. We have about 12 rows of corn growing in our yard. 2 varieties of onion. We have yellow onion and purple onion. And then 2 varieties of garlic growing. So yeah, next year we were already planning our garden for next year. We'll have all of our raised beds done by then, hopefully. Sorry, I had to adjust my mic.
We'll have all of our raised beds done by then. So how we do it is, because I've been working on my yard and my garden for a while. Total, we will have 29 raised beds, plus our like container gardens, which we're going to be using for like herbs, and those can hold jalapeno plants, determinate tomatoes, bush beans, stuff like that. And then our beds are going to hold like bigger stuff. So like next year we're going to hopefully grow like vertical grow baby watermelons, cantaloupes, Korean melons, honeydew, stuff like that. Stuff that can grow vertically. You can trellis those if you guys didn't know that. You can put cattle panel in your bed, stake them in, and then grow those types of things up instead of out and around your yard, and you can save your yard. You can actually garden quite a bit with um, when you grow vertically. You can grow quite a bit, honestly. So we're going to grow a whole bunch next year. I'm going to grow like carrots and potatoes, multiple varieties of cabbages, and I'm going to grow stuff to make our homemade kimchi. So that way, because to get like Napa cabbage at the Korean market for one box, which is like 5 or 6 heads, is like $60. So I was like, I can grow that for less with um even with the cost of water and fertilizer and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of the times there are certain things that may be cheaper, but with what's going on in our economy at this point, I mean, it's cheaper to buy what you can grow. Like we're going to grow lettuce and spinach and all that stuff next year too, because on my front patio, I pretty much it gets afternoon sun, which for me would be good for those cooler vegetations, right? Like it'll be shielded by my patio. It's indirect. So we're going to grow stuff like that up front on our patio. We can't grow it in our yard because of our HOA, but I can grow it on my patio, which is kind of redundant if you ask me, but whatever. So altogether, I'll have between, I think, little over 1,000 square feet of growing space. And then the summer after, I'm going to put like, there's these trees, apple trees, that don't grow very wide, but they grow vertically very tall, like 10, 12 feet tall. Um, so we're probably going to do that. We're going to grow those trees next year. Not next year, the year after, we're going to plant those. And then, yeah, so hopefully they'll be producing shortly after that. We're going to plant probably like 4 different varieties, and then we're going to rotate them out, like, because apples are cross pollinators. You need to have 2 different varieties minimum for them to make an apple, if that makes sense. Like you can't plant 2 of the same ones next to each other. So we're just going to do like plant 1, tree 2, tree 3, tree 4. So that's how we plan on doing it. Yeah, so that's what I did for a couple of my days off. It was interesting because I was like, oh man, I'm falling behind on my filming. So there's just a couple of days that I wasn't able to like post, and that's okay. Life gets a hold of us sometimes, and this is the busy time of year for me because of me getting the garden up and going and stuff like that. Does anybody else like to garden? If so, what are you guys growing this year? It can be something small, something big, just flowers. Doesn't necessarily have to be like food. All right. Yeah, like I said, it can be something small. Like my daughter, she is doing, what did she get? Rosemary. She got basil, dill, and cilantro because we like growing our own stuff to make like salsas and guac. So we literally have everything for salsa growing in the garden this year. And then what I do is I'm going to can our homemade salsa. And then our guac, of course, we can't grow avocados here in Colorado. So we'll have to buy those, unfortunately, but we have everything else. So yeah, she's like, why do you want me to put them in portable containers, like a, a 2-foot container? And I was like, well, that way we can bring them in and out of the garage when the season comes and we can continue having fresh herbs. And then again, like I said, I'll be popping up our greenhouse up in there. And then we have grow lights and everything like that that I'll be ordering. So yeah, my husband's like, you're okay with not parking in the garage? I was like, if I can get my garden up and going, yeah, I don't care. If I can grow lettuce year round in our greenhouse, just bring those in. Like I said, I'm going to put those in containers too. And we'll be bringing that stuff in as well. So yeah, I always tell people if you have the space to do it, like there used to be a point in time when stuff was cheaper, but we just went grocery shopping this weekend and y'all, I almost had a heart attack at some of these prices. I was like, what in God's green earth is going on? Like I remember romaine lettuce for like a 4-pack at Sam's Club used to be like $3 and like 96 cents. It's now almost like a little over $5. And I was just like, I know we're joking. Avocados, we used to be able to get a bag of avocados for like $1 an avocado. So like $5, $6. They're now $9, $10. And I'm just like, well, it is what it is. Just gotta survive and hope for the best, you know? That's just the way that I see it is. Luckily, we know how to do a lot of our own growing and I can always go to like the local butchers and order a whole cow, stuff like that. So, yeah, I bought our meats and broke it down. Fresh produce. We don't get dairy, like we don't get our milk and stuff like that from the stores. We get our cheeses, but we only buy certain brands from certain stores because if y'all didn't know, they can't test for milk and cheeses and stuff right now through um, through national testing anymore because they did away with funding for that. So we only buy from certain stores, certain brands of cheeses now. And then my milk comes from a local dairy that does their own testing. So yeah, kind of sucks, but I'll take it. Like, yeah, I don't know if anybody knew that or not, but there's your little PSA for the day. And it's so funny because my hands are like all like destroyed from gardening. So yeah. I was like, dang girl, you really I got in there. We had to amend my planters in the front. I added some peat moss to it. And peat moss, what that allows me to do is it retains water so it slowly releases into my soil so my soil doesn't get dry. And since they're hanging, they're like rectangular containers hanging on the edge of my patio. Um, my front of my house gets a lot of afternoon heat, so I needed to add more peat moss so my containers wouldn't dry out so quickly. So next year, I'll probably tap into my front irrigation system and um, have it irrigated on a regular basis. But honestly, I kind of enjoy watering my plants. It's some me time and I get to go outside and enjoy some fresh air. And my daughter, she's graduated from high school. This week she's doing her walking ceremony and her rehearsal ceremony. But um, she's into gardening and she's going to be going to school, and she's like, Mom, I'll help you with the garden. I'll help you water. So like, okay, well, I think between the two of us, we can make sure the stuff stays hydrated, you know? My husband tends to forget, so I try not to ask him to help with the gardening because to him, he doesn't like have pleasure in gardening. To him, it's just like a task that has to be done versus me, I enjoy it. So, yeah. Also, this weekend, I've been watching the show on, I think it's YouTube. It's talking about like mysteries that science can't explain. So, like ancient digs and civilizations and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty cool. Learned quite a bit. They were talking about on one of the episodes how in the Amazon, first of all, I didn't know this. The Amazon isn't necessarily inhabitable for humans because they can't necessarily like grow their own food and stuff like that. And you would think that it'd be like nice and rich because it's the jungle and the soil, right? Apparently the soil isn't good for like farming, right? So I guess back in, I forgot when it was. Sorry guys, otherwise I would tell you. But like way, way, way back in early civilization, they were talking about how there were signs of large civilizations, so large communities within the Amazon jungle that thrived there. And what they did was like they amended like their own like they had their own soil makeup and their own composting and stuff like that because the jungle floor wasn't necessarily good for farming. So they had evidence that it was like multiple little civilizations spread out all over the place. So that was kind of cute. I was like, oh, that would be kind of cool, you know? Seeing something like that. You're like, like it says that we can't do that, but they find evidence that they could. And then there was another one they were talking about, I think it was in the Philippines. I was kind of having it playing in the background while I was doing chores and stuff and gardening. So there was another one where they had like these cylinder like tunnels along a trail. They think that maybe it was like a trading post or something. And it was like where it was made out of rock, but had kind of like, so imagine like this, it was a rock and then it had like a hole in it. And they're like thinking that it was used for trading, but they weren't 100% sure. So and they're like, well, maybe it was used for religious purposes. And of course, there's like no type of written documentation, right? Because it was that long ago. So I've been really intrigued in that recently. I've been watching those shows because I was like, I didn't know these kind of things. I mean, I knew they existed, but I didn't know they like had a whole show on it, which is nice for those of us that are naturally curious, right? So if I run out of this color, I think that might be done for this week's Stitch With Me because as you can see, I have a lot of stuff like already started, but maybe I'll do another Stitch With Me later on in the week for another weekly Stitch With Me for the upcoming. I'm not sure. I kind of wing it recently just because I feel like I have a lot of going on. Like, I can't believe I'm already getting ready to go back to work. I was like, where did my 4 days off go? I told my husband, like, I feel like I didn't get any days off this week. Normally I feel like I come back well rested for my days off, but this week I don't feel that way at all. Um, and I think it's honestly because I just did so much around the house and I did yard work and I did all the other things. Uh-oh, guys, I think my thread's messed up. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay, let me see. What is this? I don't know what this is. I'm thinking something. See, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to end this stitch with me here because I'm going to have to undo this and then fix it on the back side and then dispose of this thread because I don't know. Maybe. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, my Lanta, guys. I think I fixed it. I lied. I'm not going to end my stitch with me. I fixed it. I don't know what happened, but there we go. Okay, we can keep going. Again, doing stitch with me's and then not editing this kind of stuff out. I just feel like just keeps it real with everybody on what we really go through. There we go. Okay, now it's fixed. But yeah, I don't feel like I got any days off this week. So normally I can get some videos filmed and I'm not so pressed for time, but I was really pressed for time this year. Like I was telling my husband, next year I think I'm going to take 2 weeks off at the beginning, like at the end of the school year, so in May sometime, just so that way, because we got to get all of our garden up and running. And with the remainder of our beds, because what we're going to do is my husband's going to build them throughout the year, but I'm going to have like compost and topsoil and the peat moss and all that stuff delivered to the house. So it's going to take me a minute to get all that soil back into my beds. And I know some people don't like filling their soil with their beds with soils. The reason why I don't fill it with twigs and all that stuff at the bottom of the bed, people don't realize this. Like when you put cardboard down on the bottom of your bed and then like twigs and all that stuff, it actually takes longer to break down within your garden bed. And it takes longer for like worms and stuff to come up through the soil into your bed. So for me, I like placing my raised beds directly over bare soil, and then I fill the rest of my bed with, the things that I need for me to be able to garden. And I actually, in all of my raised beds, I have worms in all of my raised beds because they come up through the ground and into my raised beds. So when I tell people if you're going to do raised beds, I highly discourage you putting like a weed barrier. I discourage you from putting in like cardboard boxes or sticks and twigs and all, because the worms can't necessarily migrate through it. And let's be honest, why would we want to go and pay for worm castings and stuff like that when we can just fill it with soil and then have nice, rich soil the natural way, right? So that's what I try to tell people is like, yeah, it may be cost effective up front to put all that stuff in there, but it's going to literally take years for it to break down. And you're going to be filling your bed with like a whole bunch of fertilizers and compost and worm castings. And I rather just pay for the soil and all that stuff up front and then have the worms take care of my bed for me. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to pause you for a minute, guys. I'm going to tie this off in the back, and then we're going to start on this color here. All right, guys, I'm back. So to get to this segment, I have tried filming this part 7 times for this color right here, 39. It is DMC 995. I had to reposition my camera, so there's the color. My camera was like glitching, and then I would end up getting knots, and I'm like 7 times to film this segment is a little atrocious in my opinion. So this is what we have. And see, look, my thing's already starting to get a knot in it. See it? And I don't understand what's going on. So, so hopefully we can get some of this color film. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Let me see if anything's on the back. No. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't think this section wants me to stitch it today. Something. But yeah, 7 times, guys, to get to this color. And I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to film this week. I don't understand. What I was saying was in one of my other segments that I tried to do a retake, my computer updated and it like restarted, which normally it's not supposed to affect my settings, but I don't know if it did or not. And it's one of those things of like, you don't know until you go in to start filming, to be honest with you. So I don't know. After this film with me, or this stitch with me, sorry, film with me, this stitch with me, I will go into my settings and make sure everything's right. I did adjust my camera a bit, so it seems to be helping. And I did zoom in a little bit more for you guys, so that way I can kind of see what's going on here. The hard part about this color 39 and the 28, like as you can see here, you guys can see it when you're up close, the difference. So this thread matches the color of the box. So when the box needs to be stitched, which will be this color, I'll just have to pay attention that there's some checkering going on over here. Yeah, it feels like there's a knot in the back. Yep. I can always tell when it knots up in the back because I can feel it like, how should I say it? Like if you know that your thread's supposed to be a certain length and then you go to pull it through and you're like, wow, it wasn't that length before. Yeah, that's how I can tell. People sometimes are like, how can you tell? I'm like, because when I just did it like a few seconds ago, it was longer. Yeah, no big deal. It's an easy fix, but when you're trying to get a new segment filmed and then it's, how should I put it? It's keeps nodding. It's just a little monotonous from time to time is how I feel. Yeah, this cross stitch, like I said, I'm going to be doing this weekly. So if anyone wants to do a large koi cross stitch with me, you're more than welcome to. Because I'll be honest with you, this one's going to take me a hot minute to do just because of how big it is. There is some, like this, there's a lot of color blocking. Wow. Didn't realize it's moved on you. Sorry, guys. There is a lot of color blocking, but it's large amounts of color blocking. So for this, like that was one thread. So just for this section here, I probably need 3 sets of 3 strings. So 1.5 threads, if that makes sense. So even though, hold on, it knotted again. Even though I do my parking method, I can't park too many threads of the same color there because I don't truly know how many it's going to take, right? So I tend to just do 1, and then when it runs out, I'll go park a new thread there. So like when I'm done with this color, which I don't think I'm going to get to it this week. I might get to it this weekend and just might do another stitch with me with you guys this weekend on 39 because I don't think I'm going to be able to stitch on this at all till after work this week. I'm not going to sit here and park multiple threads. It's just, It just doesn't work for me. So what I'm going to do is I'll go and probably park a thread here, here, another one here, here, and like in through here, just because it's a lot of the same color and I don't want to put it back onto my card. So that's what I'll do. I just really want to, this is a flower that we're working on right now. So I just want to get it done, if you know what I mean. I want to get this corner done. What took so long was how should I put it nicely? I'm just going to say it. The printing was off like halfway. As you can see here, like it's slightly off, like, oh, right there, you can see it. Like it's off like a quarter of the box. So I had to start way over here, so way over there on the edge, and line everything up, and I have to work left to right in this top corner over here. So it's taking me a bit longer. I can't kind of jump around right now, which is why I'm stuck in this top corner for now. It's okay. At least I know how to work with it and I'm able to correct it myself, so no big deal. Oh, when it comes to this edge right here, it's torture, guys. This is where I tend to like have issues with my thread bunching and all that fun stuff. Okay. There we go. I might just finish up this row and call this week's stitch with me. Good. And then we'll just pick back up over in this corner next week. What do you guys think? Did anybody else get a large koi? If so, let me know. I like knowing who's stitching similar projects as me. I have one lady, she said, this is a really pretty lighthouse. It's my, I think it's my ASMR one. No, my tranquil one where I don't speak in it and it's just a lighthouse. And I have like nice quaint music to it. She said that she's going to probably get a lighthouse and stitch along with me just because she likes her mom likes lighthouses and she likes doing them. So yeah, that's nice. All right, I'm going to stop right here and then I'll pick back up here next week with my stitch with me. So I'm just going to park that right there.
All right, friends, that concludes today's Stitch with Me of that large canvas koi and peony design. If you hung out with me all the way till the end, thank you. I appreciate you stitching with me all the way through this video. To my subscribers and non-subscribers, I really appreciate you guys hanging in there and asking questions and hopefully joining our Facebook group so we can hang out in there and show our progress throughout the week. You can follow me on other social media platforms. I do have a TikTok as well as an Instagram. Over there, I do post updates um, for when a video goes live, as well as sneak peeks of what I'm working on throughout the week if I can remember to post. The user handler on both of those platforms is stitching_with_steph. And again, if you want to go ahead and join that Facebook group, just go ahead and click that link in the description box, and I'll be more than happy to add you. Thank you for coming along with me today, and I hope to see you guys in another video, regardless if it's a stitch with me or a review video. I hope you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.